Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cannonbull Podcast. I am your host, SaintJorge, and I need to share with you guys what is my new obsession. I'm hooked on it, guys. I can't get enough. After this recording, I'm going to go watch more of it. Actually, I'm talking about Abbott Elementary. When I first heard about this show, um, it kind of hit a nerve because my day job is teaching English as a foreign language. And I've taught kids before, I've taught people of all ages. And I saw the show and I was like, hey, it's a show about the stuff that I do. This is interesting. This is kind of funny, right? Um, and I decided that I wanted to check it out. So I got myself access to it, but it was just sitting there. I just didn't really watch it. I was like, this is a sitcom, this is a comedy. These things usually repeat themselves, they don't change too much. They have corny jokes, there might be a laugh track. I don't think I'm going to like this very much. It's not going to be as deep or gripping or as entertaining as something like a this is a weird comparison, but something like a True Detective, or like something like The Office, which The Office is popular for doing something very similar to what Abbott Elementary is doing. So one day I decided, you know what? Let me actually just start watching this. Let me get into it. And I watched the first couple of episodes, and immediately I was like, you know what? There's something here. I've always loved mockumentary style TV shows. It's an aspect about me that I somehow keep forgetting because I also watched High School Musical, the musical, the series. I think that was the title. I watched all four seasons and I loved it. I was hooked on it. You can cook me as heated as you want to in the comment section. I love that show and I am a big fan of what's the ship called? It's Ricky and what's her name? Oh man, I forgot that girl's name. But it's Ricky and the tall girl, that was mean in the beginning of the show. Um, and I love the mockumentary style. I loved it so much. I somehow always forget that I like mockumentaries. So when I saw the first few episodes of Abbott Elementary, I was like, this is the stuff I like. This is what I like right here. This is what I like right here. These teachers who are in this struggling school, their principal is so irresponsible, and they are trying to make things work. They are public school. They don't have all the resources private schools have, but they have this love and this passion for the kids that's just infectious and endearing. They funny, and Janine's chaotic optimism is just like so. Yeah, it's infectious, and they're dynamic, right? It's just the best. I really enjoy it. And Mr. Johnson is the best character in the show by far. Let me just put it out there. Mr. Johnson is the GOAT, guys. Mr. Johnson is the GOAT. By the way, spoiler alert for those that have not seen Abbott Elementary. I'm going to be sharing all my thoughts, the stuff I like, stuff I dislike, my thoughts on the characters and the style and the approach, which I've glossed over already. The mockumentary style is it's so funny to me, that there's confession booths, and when things happen, they look at the camera in such a way, and it's like they have all these dramatic and very deep moments, and the camera is still there, and they're filming everything, and it's actually a camera crew that's been hired to document what's happening in Abbott Elementary. One of the things that really kept me going for the show is the romance between Janine and Gregory. Guys, if you know me on this channel, the guys know that when it comes to ships, I'm a captain. I'm a Yonko. I'm an emperor of the sea. Come right up there with Luffy and the rest. I am a shipping guy. I love ships. I like Marco and Jackie, right? I love that ship. I love Ricky and the girl from High School Musical, the musical series. I should really get her name. And I'm just a big ship guy. I could name all the ships that I'm into, but we're gonna be here the whole day. But Gregory and Janine, there's something about these two characters who can love each other and care about each other in a way that they haven't been loved or cared for in their entire lives. Them feeling seen with each other. Gregory remembering things that Janine likes, Janine remembering things that Gregory likes, remembering their triggers and, you know, how to calm each other down, and they can just be goofy with each other. Gregory can be a socially awkward nerd around Janine, and Janine can be a chaotic, optimistic go-getter with Gregory, and it just works. And it connected to me as well because, well, I've been there and I've done that. I also had a colleague who I did develop feelings for, and the rest is history. I related to that in the show, and it's what kept me watching. One of the aspects that kept me watching episode of the episode of the episode, trying to get to the point where Gregory finally works up the courage to just tell Janine how he feels. And I like that the way that they went about it was that accidentally Jacob finds out, and he accidentally then spills the beans to Janine. And then how is it that they find out that the field trip to the museum, right? The space museum. They go there. I think the museum might have more than just space going on, but they go there and then admit to each other. Well, Gregory admits first that the thing is, I have feelings for you. And Janine's a bit weird about it. They can't talk about it any further because commotion happens. But then she also tells him that, listen, I feel the same way. But, it's complicated because this is going to be, I want this to work. And we've all been there. You want this thing to work so bad that you're afraid to jump into it because what if it goes wrong? And the talk that she has with Mr. Johnson, this is why he's the GOAT. The talk she has with Mr. Johnson at the end of the 3rd season about whether she should jump in or not, it sums it all up. It really sums it up that, listen, life is full of regrets. There's some things that you lose, there's some things that you gain. But given the situation that you're in, given what you feel for this person, why would you hold back? Just go for it. And now you're in the 4th season where they are already a couple and they're navigating this new landscape. But let me get into the characters, man, because the characters are what make the show really interesting. Melissa Chiomenti. Wow, Melissa Chiomenti. I love her so much. She's like the Italian auntie I never had. I like that she's just that street smart, down to earth character that kind of just knows a guy that knows a guy. Like, she's the muscle man of the bunch, and I like how she plays this rough and tough, of course, but she has the soft center. She falls for the vending machine guy, which I wasn't really into that ship, but I wanted them to win. Unfortunately, he was moving too fast and that didn't work out. The highlight for me with Melissa was when Jacob and her became roommates and Jacob and her became genuine friends. And as the show goes on, you get to see the sides of these characters that you don't see in the beginning. They really grow. But also, it's this interesting thing that sitcoms can do where they can make characters grow and change, but keep that same core part of these characters. Chiomenti remains Chiomenti, but she's now friends with Jacob, and she can still take a piss at him, but Jacob is now her roommate. And that, for me, was just interesting to see them be friends, and it was really cute. It was so adorable to see that happen. But since I mentioned him, let me go to him as well. Jacob Hill. I'm not gonna lie, if I was in Abbott Elementary, I would be friends with Jacob Hill. I really would. I think there'll be some things where I'll be like, listen, Jacob, you need to stop doing that. That's corny as hell. That's lame. But I would be friends with Jacob. I think he's a genuine dude. I think he can be pretty annoying sometimes. We'd bond over some nerdy stuff, I think. But there is something that bothers me sometimes with comedic media, especially from America, and it's their constant need to make fun of white people and to kind of make them the butt of the joke, because there's some comedians that take it very far. There's some people that take it very far where they can be really nasty to Caucasian people. But I did like the way that Abbott Elementary handled it, where it's not that much. It's kind of ingrained really in Jacob's character that he is a corny guy and he can come off as pretty annoying at times, although you can see that there are certain jokes that they make to just be, oh, hey, look, he's the weird white guy of the bunch. And I think there's a reference that Janine makes in one of the episodes where he's discovering the fact that he is corny. I think it's the episode where the story samurai come to school, which, by the way, one of the most cringiest episodes ever. He realizes that he's corny, and Janine makes a reference to a certain character that he is. He is essentially that character in the show. He's basically, to just put it plainly, the white guy amongst the black cast. So there's that, which is funny because we have Melissa. She's also Caucasian, but I guess she's not American Caucasian. She's Italian. So there's that. Now, I also want to talk about the most chaotic. Now, I'm not talking optimistic because Janine is the chaotic optimist. I'm talking just chaotic in general, irresponsible, dumb as hell sometimes, and just like the most unreliable. Principal Ava Coleman. I started the show disliking Ava because she was just insufferable to the point where it's like, can you please just do your job and stop being such a horrible person to everybody? But as the show goes on, again, this thing where as the show goes on, they layer these characters, you learn that Ava has problems at home when it comes to her grandmother. You learn that Ava does care about certain things. She cares about her staff members. She has grown to like them and be fond of them. And we have the episode of the Step Club where, Janine is trying to teach her kids about step, and then Ava comes to remix the entire thing. Her and Janine form a bond, but Ava still hides behind the mask of Janine's my rival because she's also kind of, stealing Gregory away from me. To the point where even when Ava finds out, or when Janine and Gregory admit that they are a couple, Ava then tells Gregory that their situationship is over, and to Gregory's surprise, but Janine's like, listen, just let her have it. Because, by the way, Ava is immediately attracted to Gregory when he walks through that door. And we're gonna get to him in a minute. But I gotta just fan off about Ava, man. I've grown to... It went from loving to hate Ava to just loving Ava to hating loving Ava. I cannot imagine an episode without her walking in the room and saying something just rude to somebody, or just being an insufferable person like, I don't care, I'm not worrying about that, and then going about her life like she has a secret toilet that nobody uses. She embezzles the funds that the district gives to school. Like, Ava's horrible. But I've grown to really, really love her character. Like, she's just, yeah. What a gem. Comment down below your favorite moments, your favorite Ava moments. Comment down below because it might not be coming to be now, but...
We're gonna be a historical place. Ka-ching! What? It comes with a discretionary fund for structural upkeep?
I think one that comes to mind would be when she went to Harvard, air quotes, and did a course on being a principal or being a proper person for her job. And she comes back prim and proper, and she is enforcing rules and protocol, and everybody is just not having it because it's like, oh, but if you think about it, they start to realize that when Ava was just a loose cannon, things were fine. We had our free periods and we could kind of be irresponsible ourselves, but now Ava's being responsible and we have to be responsible. We need to find a way to factory reset Ava, and they do so by playing, I think the song is Shake That Ass by Juvenile, and she just goes crazy and she's back to factory settings. Iconic. That's the one. And also the fact that Ava has a file on all the attractive fathers in the school, like in the school system. Like, she just does the wildest of things. Bro, she's something else. Ava is something else, but she's a top 3 Abbott Elementary character. She's top 3 for me. But going from Ava, we have to then talk about Mrs. Barbara Howard, the great Barbara Howard, and just how she is this wise and God-fearing woman within the walls of Abbott. I also at my first teaching job, I also had a senior colleague who was like a mom to me within the walls of the school, and to see her give advice and wisdom, especially to Janine, really warmed my heart because I know what that's like, and her English, Mrs. Howard is an example of a type of American accent that fascinates me. And it's the type of American accent that is American, but because of the very high class words they use, the vocabulary, their cadence, they sound British, but they not. It's almost the same way that Norman Osborn speaks in certain interpretations or adaptations of his character. It's like his English is so good, he comes across as British, but he isn't. And Mrs. Howard has that. So she's also a really cool character. Can't imagine the cast without her. I love how her and Melissa just have like the chaotic duo moments. Like they just best friends. Like they just love life, and whenever they go to events and just the way they talk about how like, oh, listen, honey, we've been there, we've done that. You don't want to get involved in that. You want to go there, say hi, disappear, and go to the spa and have a good time. And I do also like how Mrs. Howard isn't afraid to let loose and just have a drink and enjoy herself. Man, I'm remembering the episode where they all were talking about the drugs that they did. Look,
Not every day, every night.
Janine, reefer, ganja, the devil's lettuce.
That's why your feet so big.
episodes like that are just the ones that I live for. And it was so shocking to realize that tiny ass Janine is on that loud. Like that was so wild. And I was like, wait, I'm trying to picture Janine rolling a blunt in her weird ass apartment in that shady neighborhood at night and smoking it. That must be so like and it's just an interesting aspect because as a teacher and from my experience, you get your teacher self within the walls where you're a professional, and then you get yourself outside the school and the stuff that you do. Gregory wearing a Cuban link, going to a club, Janine going to a club and them dancing on each other. Ava, that's not surprising. You know what? Her going to a club is not even surprising at all. But just you get it's part of that teacher life. I'm happy that they included things like that. I'm not sure if anyone in the cast used to teach before or any of the producers, but they got a lot of things really spot on. And so many moments where Mrs. Howard had to deal with being a senior teacher that was used to an archaic way of doing things and now having to get used to a new way of doing things. Episodes where they got new technology, where they got the new librarian, where they got new systems, the new grading system on the tablets. I think that was in the first season, and she couldn't do it, and she ended up it ended up looking like her kids could read at a 4th grade level, but they couldn't. And then there was the kid that like just couldn't stop dancing. Oh man. And Kid Thanos. Kid Thanos, what an episode. Halloween episode with Kid Thanos giving out the candy. Man, the show is peak. Get into it, guys. Get into it. I mentioned him and I have to bring him up because he's kind of like the two antagonist? The two antagonist? I forget how to pronounce that word, but the secondary protagonist of the show, our second eyes, Gregory Eddie. He has a middle name. I forget his middle name. Is it William? Gregory William? It's something. I forget. Johnson? I forget. He's got something in there. But Gregory Eddie, man, he definitely reminded me of two people. He reminded me of myself when I started teaching, and he reminds me of a colleague I had who became a friend as well at my first teaching job. Who is, that friend's body structure and body movements, even demeanor, is so similar to Gregory. I felt like I was looking at his doppelganger on screen, It's just that my friend is a lot more robust than Gregory is, And I think he's a little bit taller as well. But Gregory really reminded me of myself You walk into those walls. You a substitute. You don't want to commit yourself too much. You just a passenger. But through time, you fall in love with this faculty of teachers. You fall in love with the job, the fulfillment of watching these kids, these students grow. You have to deal with all these things and eventually learn about how much you like this thing, which is called teaching. And him starting the garden goofballs, I really like that, that the garden goofballs thing. It was hilarious when the garden was failing. Jacob and Miss Howard started, the garden. And that was the start of Jacob also developing or connecting with characters beyond just the colleague level, because they always were annoyed with him. But he started to do things with characters that made them connect to him. Just a little tangent on that. He connected to Barbara with the garden. He connected to Melissa through being her roommate. He connected to Mr. Johnson with, I don't know, Mr. Johnson said he sees him like a son. He connected with Gregory because they both very similar, and they part of the brunch bunch. I like these little squads that they create, the garden goofballs, the brunch bunch, yeah, I just like that. And so it was really great seeing Gregory grow and learn how to accept that this is what he wants to do, away from what his father wants him to do, and working up the courage to tell Janine how he feels, working through that. And it was tough watching him almost develop a rivalry with Manny from the district, who, by the way, I was also kind of squaring up behind the screen. I was like, listen, Gregory, you say go, and we jump this guy. I don't care about his beard. I got a beard. We're gonna beard off. We're gonna oral off. Manny's taller than me, but we're gonna oral off, man. So, but does this mean that if I was in Abbott Elementary, Gregory would be intimidated by my beard? Is that what that means? Because that's crazy. Although I think if I was in Abbott, I'd be friends with everybody. I think I'd be cool with everybody. Yeah, I would. But I digress. That episode in the bar, when they all ended up in the same place and Gregory thought that Janine was on a date with Manny, it was so... I paused that episode. When he stood up and shouted, I paused. And I left and paused for like 5 minutes. Because I couldn't handle the cringe. I was like, you're gonna embarrass yourself so bad, and you're gonna ruin things with Janine. Why can't you just tell her how you feel, bro? And eventually it worked out, and everything smoothed itself out. But when Erica told Gregory eventually that, hey, actually Manny did ask her out, but she shut that thing down because she said she likes someone else, and that person's obviously you. I got a little bit upset. I was like, so this guy with his beard had the audacity. I was like, yo, this Manny guy. But I could see he was digging low Janine. He was digging low Janine. I also like the gag of her just being tiny and her just calling herself a big kid. And then the episode where her student had a crush on her. That was so funny that they tackled that, which happens sometimes where a student ends up having a crush on their teacher. And just like when she was when she was on the monkey bars and she couldn't get down because she was tall or because she was short. Hilarious. She's the shortest, I believe, in the faculty of teachers. If you include the students, they're not part of the faculty, but she's the shortest of the bunch. But I guess that would allow us now to talk about Janine.
As a product of the Philadelphia school system, I'm proud to say I survived and now teach here today.
The emotional backbone of the show, man. There's so many... When the third season started, I had so much of a whiplash because now, I believe at the end of the second season, her and Gregory had this thing of they're just gonna be friends. And then the district whisked her away. I work at the district now. And I was like, wait, hold time out. When did this happen? And of course, I like that because, you have to find a way to throw off your viewers and to just keep them watching somehow. I like that they keep those things in mind, and every episode actually starts with this weird interaction between them that just clues you in also on the vibes and the connection they have with each other.
Ava, have you seen a... Is this you?
Oh, I must have fell in there by mistake. Mind your business.
And so you start now, she's part of the district, and you get a flashback that she eventually told Gregory that, listen, I remember that I told us to keep this thing shoved down, but I still have those feelings for you, and I think maybe we should just explore this. And he was like, listen, buddy, and I hated that so much. He was like, listen, buddy, I kind of moved on from that. I'm not saying I don't feel for you, but I put a pause on that because I felt like out of respect, he says, which until now, I still don't understand what he was trying to say by out of respect. I was like, Gregory, the girl that you like is coming to you and telling you, listen, can we just do this, man? Because I do still like you. And you saying, nah, I kind of put a pause on that because even you now changing your mind, it's like, are we sure we want to do this? Okay, to a certain point now saying that out loud, I get it. Maybe he meant I'm not where you are. I don't want to do this and then ruin it. But I was like, dog, can you guys just get it over with? And everyone knows that they like each other. And even they even told Janine, listen, we all know that you and Gregory like each other. It's you two that just aren't admitting it to yourselves. And even when they started dating, they were like, we know they are together. It's so insufferable. Oh my God, that they always in each other's faces more than they already were before. And I know what that's like. Trust me. Like I said, been there, done that. And looking back at how I used to be with my person and looking at what Gregory and Janine do when they together and the stuff that they say to each other when they're flirting, it really is cringe. Oh, like when two goofball nerdish characters are just flirting, it's so...
I like the way you pass that pizza.
I like the way you hand out milk boxes.
No, get out! Like, I was like, no, get me out of here. I was like, no, I cannot be in a room watching these two flirt. It's but it's cute. It's cute. I love it, and I'm glad they together. But Janine is another character that they layered as time went on. You find out about her mom, her sister, her not knowing who her father is, and them having a law for that, and Kevin Hart making a cameo. I love how these other celebrities make cameos as well, like the basketball player that is a sneaky link to Ava, Kevin Hart, Vince Staples, Taraji P. Henson, I believe I said it right, who plays Janine's mom, and I forget her name, girl from Opus and from The Bear, who plays Janine's sister, Alyssa. That was wow. By the way, I was watching Opus some weeks ago, but I stopped. I don't know why. I have to finish that movie because I want to give you guys a review, a thought dump about that for the channel. But Janine's life, it was also great to get into, her and Tariq. How can I not mention Tariq, who she dated for more than a decade? Wow, that was so crazy. And it's so interesting to also see the growth that they had from each other. I feel like the Janine we knew with Tariq was very, very caged and very... You saw, for those who watched it, you saw how Tariq would use her car and make her pay for things because she's a feminist. And how she just couldn't grow. She couldn't be Janine. The Janine we know now, that I know now in season 4 because of Tariq. And when she left Tariq, the way that she blossomed, wow. District fellowship member, almost joining the district. The entire 4th season had me on edge. I was so anxious because I didn't know whether Janine was gonna leave us or not. And I'm saying us as if I'm a member of Abbott Elementary. I'm not, but I know that feeling of that teacher that you really vibe with, leaving, that you value so much that you can't imagine the place without them. I was so on edge. I was like, Janine can't leave. I was shaking. And I could really relate to her anxiety when they were giving her, hey, you gotta register, hey, you gotta sign, hey, you gotta do this, hey, here's your key card, hey, you gotta start Monday. Like, I could feel that, I could relate to that. And so that was an interesting era of Janine's life and part of her blossoming as a character, her wanting to fix things, her being more independent in solving problems. She just has become this core of Abbott. And if you think about it, if I'm gonna use One Piece terms, which I love to do because I'm a big One Piece fan and everyone knows this in the group, the guys must be tired of me always doing this because I be saying shit like, oh, like this guy's Yonko level type crazy, and it's like, stop that, bro. Stop that. But if the Abbott faculty was a pirate crew and Ava was their weird ass captain, the best person and candidate for vice captain would be Janine. I know Gregory studied and is qualified to be a principal, but I think the way he's, and this is a theme in the show of people, especially for the youngsters in the show, how they think that this is what they want to be, but actually things happen in life that steer you into the direction of where you're meant to be and taking risks and just living your life. And so I think Gregory's at a point where being principal is something that he can wait for. I think he wants to explore being an actual proper teacher first, you know? He's like in his mid-20s, so maybe like in his late 30s, mid-30s, maybe he wants to start looking at being a teacher. But Janine is at a point where it's like, I feel like very soon, if Ava decides to leave, she could probably do the principal thing. But knowing Janine, that's not something that she's gonna wanna do. She's gonna wanna keep getting her hands dirty, keep being with her children. She has a huge soft spot for them. She's gonna keep wanting to be in the class and teach because that's what she loves to do. That's what Gregory loves to do. And I think maybe if we're gonna talk about like an end game for them, maybe they get married and they start their own school where they are teachers. I don't know. Eventually they're gonna have to find a way to, because like teachers don't get paid well. So they're gonna have to find a way to like sustain themselves as a married couple. I don't know what they're going to do. That's if they're gonna get married. I'm excited to see where this show goes in terms of their relationship. Are they gonna break up at a certain point in a season? I don't think I can handle seeing that. But that's Janine. Like I said, such an emotional core of the show. Like sometimes there are scenes where, like I said, in the 4th season and even in certain episodes where she's already back, you know, season 4 at the back end now. Not the back end, sorry. The beginning of season 4 is where I'm at right now. And just moments where she's not there, I ask myself, yo, where's Janine? Where's Janine? Where's Janine? And I think there was an episode where even Gregory was like, he walked in, he was like, hey, has anyone seen Janine? And I was like, It's those subtle moments, you know, where you realize that Gregory does like Janine. When her jacket fell, this was the last episode of season 3 when she came back from the district, the penultimate episode. I think it was the 13th episode. Her jacket, because she was wearing a jacket like a One Piece admiral. I did it again, and it fell off her shoulders. And Gregory, because they're always together, man, he picks it up and he drapes it over her shoulders, and she's like, with a huge smile on her face, thank you, I'll see you later. And what Jacob says about it, so right. He was like, dude, that was damn near erotic. Like, what the hell was that? And it's moments that it's scrumptious, man. Sorry guys, I'm tapping into my obsessed TV show lover here for the chat about this Abbott Elementary. I could yap about this for minutes and minutes and minutes, but I have to mention Mr. Johnson. Top 1 character, best character in the show. If it's trash, it's trash, okay? And him having just like this checkered past, he's like the Skips of the show. Like Mr. Johnson has done everything under the sun. He's almost been everything under the sun. He knows everyone under the sun. Mr. Johnson has the most interesting backstory that you've never seen. He lives off feats. He is who Mihawk thinks he is. I did it again. He's just the best. And nobody knows his first name. And I really want to know what his first name is. But for now, he's just Mr. Johnson. And there's so many different characters in Abbott Elementary that loved and enjoyed. The district characters, as much as Manny annoys me, I really do like the actor who plays him. He played Pug in She-Hulk. I just like how he's able to play a lovable guy, like a really cool guy. And especially when he comes to Abbott, they are the new members of the district, the new representatives, and they come to Abbott and they're trying to convince the teachers to work with them. And Barbara and Melissa are not having it because they've been here for a long time and they know how these district people work. They don't want to give them the chance to deceive them. And how he explains to Barbara that, listen, I don't know how else to be. Okay, I know it sounds and I'm coming across as someone that's trying to convince you, but this is how I am, and I don't know how else to just say, but I'm genuinely trying to be of service. I'm trying to help, and until you give in, I'm not gonna stop because I really want to make a change. And I'm like, man, I like this guy, but he's trying to get Gregory's position, but he's such a cool guy and he gives people chains because you have to, like, that the whole chain thing was cool. And I just didn't like the fact that he was gonna give Janine a chain because A, that's not our girl's style, and B, stay the hell away from her. I have a feeling he's gonna circle back. Because I saw clips of season 5 and I saw that his district people are there. He better watch out. He better watch out, bro. Yeah, these characters are growing on me, guys. I'm getting protective over them. This is how you know I'm unhealthily obsessed. Like I said, a plethora. There's a plethora of characters that just I love Erica, and I love the mother who has like the biatch tattoo on her chest. My god, that was a funny little moment for Barbara. Funny episode. I really did enjoy the new plot point that they introduced in the 4th season with the IT guy, and I have a feeling that he's gonna be Ava's guy because this is the first person that Ava is, I think, not really giving into. Everyone is saying that this guy is very attractive. Jacob is already shaking. His legs are shaking. But Ava's like, I don't give a damn. And he's looking at Ava like, hey, yo, this principal kind of fun. And I'm just now excited to see where that goes. But I'm trying to lay off of Abbott Elementary. I'm becoming way too addicted to it. I need to take a break, but who knows? I might not have self-respect and go watch it after this because I got a lot to catch up on. Not quite a lot actually because I'm in season 4 and season 5 is not even done airing, so that's why I need to stop. When is the Rookie airing so it can take me out of Abbott Elementary? Because I love the Rookie as well, and I love Lucy and Tim. But that ended because of Tim. I'm a shipper guy, I told you guys. Let me not rant on that ship because that's also one of my favorite ships. It's my heart and soul. But I might start watching Percy Jackson just to, palate cleanse, or the final season of Stranger Things. I want to get some videos about those things to you guys as well. I'm going to stop this yap and thought dump of Abbott Elementary here. All in all, guys, I'm in love with the show, and I think you'll love it too. It is endearing, it is sincere, it's funny, and I think it does a really interesting job with balancing the comedy and the real aspects of a drama show. It doesn't go too deep, and it doesn't act too shallow. I was afraid because of the person who was behind this, the person that plays Janine, Quinta. I was afraid that, and this is something that I suffered from in Grownish, shows like Grownish, like Mixed-ish, they suffer from this thing where the show comes across like a Twitter thread about race and politics and things like that. It feels like they're trying to preach to you. It feels superficial. It just feels like the people that wrote this are trying to appeal and look cool, but they actually not. They're trying to be hip. It's the type of stuff that Bel Air does on Peacock, and I couldn't even finish Bel Air, the fourth season. I believe it's the fourth season. I couldn't even finish Bel Air. I'm like on the 7th episode. I think I'm one episode down, but I don't even feel like finishing it because it did those things that made me be like, this is kind of corny and preachy, and it feels very superficial, and it doesn't want to focus on the things that really can be appealing. So I'm not gonna watch it. And I was afraid that Abbott Elementary was going to do the same thing because, like I said, this is a thing that I've seen a lot of black creatives do in America. But it seems that Quinta and the team really want to tell a funny and endearing story about teachers doing the best with what they have, even if it's so little. And that's why I love it. Abbott Elementary, guys, check it out. When you do, come back here. If you have, start commenting right now. I want to hear your thoughts. It's our podcast and it's your podcast, guys. Tell me about who you love, your favorite characters, your favorite moments. What do you think about Janine and Gregory? Do you ship Janine with somebody else? Do you ship Gregory with somebody else? Because I didn't even start talking about the other relationships he has and how Amber just completely was a mismatch for him. Wrong relationship for him. He got those Legos, which I thought was cool as well because I'm a nerdy guy. And it was something that Janine appreciated and Amber wasn't even having it because, you know, the type of woman Amber is. They prefer something more materialistic. And that's just the way it is. But, you know, let me not get on that rant, guys. Always do you and always look good doing it. What's a show that you have watched that really resonated with you on a personal level? Because hashtag you've been through that. Comment that down below. I would love to know. Loving and leaving you guys right now. I've been SaintJorge. Ciao, ciao.